I need to make a really tricky decision today. This is the M4 iPad Air. It's the one that came out very recently, and this is the iPad Mini, the 7th generation. For quite a while now, I've said that the iPad Mini is the best iPad Apple has ever made. However, in tandem, I've also said that the iPad Air is their most, what have I called it? I've said it's their greatest triumph, which there's a problem there, isn't there? Why doesn't that mean that the iPad Air is the best iPad? I'm not making sense, basically. And now that we have the M4 version of the iPad Air, and the 7th generation of the iPad Mini has been around for a while now, I've got to make a decision. Which one is best? The Air or the Mini? By the end of this video, I will talk myself into a decision on that, I promise. Before we get into it, just a very quick word from today's sponsor, which is Paperlike. If you get an iPad Air or an iPad Mini or basically any iPad, I recommend considering getting a Paperlike screen protector. It does two things. Firstly, it protects that very expensive screen, and secondly, as the name suggests, it makes it feel like paper. So if you do any kind of drawing, writing, illustrating, anything with the Apple Pencil, rather than having the feeling of Apple Pencil on glass, which isn't as nice as it is on this, you can go for the Paperlike, and it can feel like paper, it can sound like paper. It's mesmerizing. It's very hard to get this across on a video, obviously, but the first time you try a Paperlike, you will be amazed. The application process is incredibly simple. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. Well, that's it. I don't know what else to say. It is utterly fantastic. It goes onto every single iPad in this studio, which is a lot of iPads. Right, let's get into the M4 iPad Air. Okay, I think a lot of people will be looking at the M3 version of the iPad Air now and thinking, that's a bargain. However, there are some upgrades for the M4 which I think you might find interesting. The M4 chip itself moves to an 8-core CPU, so it has 3 performance cores and 5 efficiency cores. It's 30% faster than the M3 and 2.3 times faster than the M1. The memory has gone up as well, so we have 12 gig of RAM versus the 8 gig that was in the M3. That's a 50% increase, and memory bandwidth is now 120 gigabits per second, which is a lot. And that just means AI, Apple Intelligence, any heavy duty stuff in iPadOS 26 that requires memory, and it's good to have more memory than less memory, obviously, is going to perform better and be more future-proof. Then we have the connectivity, so this has the N1 chip, which has Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6, and the Apple C1X modem. And that means if you're a cellular user, so if you go for the one with the SIM card option, it's going to be faster. I think if you're deciding between the M3 and the M4, spend a little bit more and get this. It's the right thing to do, and if you've got an M1 and you want to upgrade, just get it. I've just realised I really need to charge this M4 iPad Air because I've been using it so much and the battery has nearly died. Very good battery, as always, by the way. Okay, what does all this power mean? So, let me show you two different apps which are just absolutely mind-blowing. The first one is Logic Pro. Logic Pro is a DAW, a digital audio workstation. I've been using Logic Pro since 1995 because I'm old. Back then, it was on Windows, bad times, then thankfully Apple bought it, and since then it's been a Mac only affair until 2 or 3 years ago when they ported it over to the iPad. And back then I thought they'll just do a kind of basic version of it, a kind of GarageBand on steroids type thing. No, they basically took all of what you do on Logic Pro on the Mac and squeezed it into the iPad, and it just works. You can use Logic Pro, the full-blown Logic Pro, on the iPad Air. Now this track here, I won't play it back because I think it is still copyrighted because it's like a demo song, just in case. But trust me, this is it. It has 76 tracks of MIDI and audio. You can see there, look, loads of them. It also has a shed load of effects and plugins and things on each track that you can see there. If I hit play, just to prove it is doing stuff, it responds instantly, but also you can see there the meters are moving, it is playing, I can move things around, I can edit, I can record stuff in, I can add more and more effects. It never seems to slow down, and this is on the iPad Air. This is not an iPad Pro, it's the iPad Air. Honestly, if you are a music producer, you know what I'm talking about here. You'll appreciate that it's just insane that we can do this on this, with nothing else plugged into it, no extra power, it's just the M4 chip, that RAM which is important. Crazy. If I had this 20 years ago, it would have been just, anyway. Right, stop gushing. The next one is Final Cut Pro. Now, if you're a video editor, you'll understand this. You can now run Final Cut Pro, the full version, the iPad OS version, on the iPad Air. This is another demo project because I don't personally use Final Cut Pro on the iPad. I don't do much editing these days at all, but this is an example of one that was made earlier. Nice little Blue Peter reference for you there. If I hit play, again, it immediately starts, no messing around. I can move things about, I can chop stuff up. This is a 1080p video, I think, but it quite happily accepts 4K. You can do multicam stuff. You can use the camera on the back of the iPad Air, shoot stuff, and it puts it straight into the timeline for you. But again, it's just so fast, and it is a proper version of Final Cut Pro. You could use this professionally, get stuff out, and be very, very happy with it. That's just two examples. We have things like Pixelmator Pro. We have other professional apps that relate to industries that I'm not a part of and can't comment on, which will work perfectly on the M4 iPad Air, and yes, will work perfectly on the M3 iPad Air as well, and probably the M1 to a degree, but you have more headroom here, and that's the thing. This gives you the extra headroom. Yes, it would be nice to have ProMotion, it would be nice to have Face ID, it would be nice to have a brighter display like you get on all of the iPad Pro display technology, but that's why the iPad Pro exists. The fact that you can spend this on this and get pretty much the same performance as the iPad Pro. Oh, I'm coming to this decision. I've got to get to this decision. I've got to make this decision. Oh, and there's two sizes. You can get the 11-inch and the 13-inch. Right. It's time. Right, let's go through this lineup very quickly and work it out. By the way, the iPad Air does work with the Apple Pencil Pro, just saying, and the Magic Keyboard. The entry-level iPad, this isn't it, this is the 10th generation, but the latest one, is still an absolute bargain. 329 quid, $349. Team that with an iPhone 17e and a MacBook Neo, for instance, you've got one hell of a setup, love it. The iPad Pro is, in my opinion, the best pro-level, flagship, top-end tablet on the market. If you want the absolute best, just get the iPad Pro, either in the 11-inch or 13-inch version. The iPad mini, I love dearly. I absolutely adore it. However, it's not much cheaper than the M4 iPad Pro. It's about 100 quid, $100, I think, roughly. And it doesn't have an M chip. It's smaller, which is part of its charm. It does work with the Apple Pencil Pro, doesn't it? It does do that, but it doesn't have a Magic Keyboard yet. Please, Apple, please give us a Magic Keyboard for the iPad Mini. It doesn't have that. It does fit in your flight trousers if you're a pilot, which is good. I'm not a pilot, obviously. I'm not putting this on. This isn't drama. I'm not doing the whole YouTuber, hamming it up for the camera thing. I'm genuinely struggling here because the conclusion that I'm coming to, it is that the iPad Air, let's look at the evidence. It's well priced, I think. It sits in that mid-range, that kind of $599 to begin with. Okay, you can spend a lot more on it, but is it $599? Yes, it starts from $599. And because people keep these for so long, you can justify that spend because you know it's going to last you a long time. So it's got that great price. It's got the performance now of the M4, which, as I've just shown you, is biblical. It's compatible with the right accessories. It has the Magic Keyboard option. It's the right size, the same as the entry-level iPad. It's just got that recognizable iPad form factor, although you can get the big one if you want to. It is Apple's greatest triumph in terms of taking what the iPad Pro can do, removing a few things that make sense, I think, and which are completely fair. Face ID, the faster refresh rate display, although it would be nice to have ProMotion at some stage, but the brighter display, all that stuff. Taking that stuff out to give you the same performance for a much lower price. It's the best iPad Apple has ever made. What? There you go, I've said it. I still love you, I genuinely do, but it's so hard to look past this iPad Air now. In fact, it's the best tablet out there. There's nothing better. There isn't. Wow. That felt like therapy. Guys, it's over to you now. I appreciate this hasn't been a regular iPad Air review, but there are so many out there, and it's hard to review iPads in a unique way these days because, well, they just do the same stuff, they just do it better, they do more of it, and if you're going to buy an M4 iPad Air, you're in for a treat. You really are. But I'd love to know in the comments what you're going to go for. Have you decided to go for this? Have you decided to go for the M3? Are you sticking with your M1? Are you going for an entry level? Are you going for the iPad? What are you doing? Get involved down there. I'll get involved as well. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you know what to do. There is loads of very exciting content on the way.